Well, welcome to our Delaware podcast. This is Ryan and Christine McCoy, and we are here with a very special guest who I've gotten to know quite well recently, Joel Brown. And he started in the Army.
Yes.
Moved to respiratory therapy, became a coach, and also runs a nonprofit organization that we can't wait to talk to you about. So, Joel, just start talking about how all this came to be and where you came from and how did you get to Lower Delaware?
So that'll take about the next 45 minutes. So hold on. I started up, I grew up in West Philly, West Philadelphia, born and raised. It was a playground. I grew up, I was born in Coatesville and then moved to West Philadelphia. Grew up in a rough neighborhood, and I had to decide to, my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. So I had to decide to either go in the Army or try to stay in my neighborhood, which at that time was very difficult. So I joined the Army during wartime, thinking it would be safer.
Oh, and there you go. Probably was.
It was.
Yeah.
I had some traumatic things happen to some friends, but that was where I was introduced to respiratory therapy. I actually had no clue what I was going to do. I actually went to a VOTech for architecture.
Oh, well, that's a change.
Yes, and so I actually
body architecture.
Yeah, I went there for architecture, and you spend, it was a VOTech, so you spend a few weeks in the architecture firm, and I realized they were just sitting around. Back then, drawing, doing their blueprints. And I was like, this is boring.
Right.
And so I went to the Army, got introduced to respiratory therapy, and fell in love with the profession. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah. And when I got out, I was still in the reserves. I went to school full time. I worked as a medic full time. And then I worked part time at a drug and alcohol rehab.
Oh, my goodness.
To put myself through school. And then I met this really cute girl. And I eventually married her.
She's pretty cool.
So went from respiratory, then worked my way up to being director. Eventually became senior director and a vice president of acute medicine. I led physician practices and was fortunate enough to be in a place where I could say, you know what, I'm going to retire from the rat race. And then I started my own business and leaned heavy into our nonprofit, which is the Brojora Foundation.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, what a journey. I mean, that takes a lot of commitment and discipline. And I mean, you just told me before the podcast that you were, third generation Army. So the discipline kind of came naturally, but to have that motivation to go all the way through all that schooling and work that hard, that's incredible.
Yeah. Third generation.
You said you were introduced to respiratory therapy in the Army.
Yeah.
What exactly is respiratory therapy?
Oh, I love that question because I also am the incoming president for the American Association for Respiratory Care. So what respiratory care practitioners or respiratory therapists, what we do is we take care of patients, right? So we're clinicians, but we focus primarily on patients with cardiopulmonary issues. So when you hear about asthmatics, patients with COPD, taking breathing treatments, that's us. When you also hear about patients being on the ventilator because they were very sick, that's a respiratory therapist that does that. We also do PFTs and evaluations to see if patients have cardiopulmonary issues. And then you'll see us in cardiac rehab, pulmonary rehab, out in the doctor's offices. We're in different spaces, but it's a specialty that's primarily focused in the cardiopulmonary space.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And you speak quite extensively on a lot of these topics. And do you travel, are you mainly East Coast that you do and conferences? Are you all over the country, world?
Yeah, I travel monthly, and especially as the president-elect. I'll be president in November. I travel monthly all over the place. So I've been everywhere from China to California.
Oh my gosh!
Right. So so travel extensively, talking about respiratory care. Now a lot of my focus is about leadership in healthcare because there is a gap in leadership in healthcare. Folks that go to school like I did in respiratory care, bachelor's degree, double major in biology, I didn't have one single leadership course.
Right.
And so those folks end up in leadership roles, including physicians the same way.
Right.
And so they end up not having that training. So now there's a push for it.
Right. And there's not really a mentor because they don't have it. And the people that are leaders are scientists, really. And that's a different mentality.
Yes.
And
there's a need to have people with a clinical background in the administrative space within hospitals. Because not only can we have the business acumen, but we understand what the bedside clinicians are dealing with on a regular basis.
Right.
So it makes our thought process and decision making not just focused on the business aspect. It's real world, I've been there experience at the bedside.
Right.
That helps guide your decisions.
Absolutely. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you get to train on what you love.
Yes.
That's great. Now, so why Sussex County, Delaware? How did you make your way here? Tell us about that part.
I love Sussex County. I do. I love it down here. Someone asked me, if you hit the lottery, where would you move or where would you go? And I was like, I'd stay right here and probably stay at my house.
That's right.
I had to probably pay for like a better security system. but I actually, so during my time as when I first started as a respiratory therapist, we worked 3 days a week, 3 12-hour shifts. You have 4 days off. I told you I worked full-time job, part-time job, all that stuff. So I had nothing else to do. So I started flipping houses. Started a business in 1998. I was 3 years old at that time for the audience. And so we started that business, and I had a partner that would help us. He was actually our realtor. And he was like, hey, you have to come down to Bethany Beach, Delaware. I had never even been here before.
Oh my God.
And he said, I've been to Rehoboth, but I've never been to Bethany. And he said, I just bought 3 homes down here. 1 I live in and 2 I'm renting.
Oh my gosh.
So we came down. We saw what he was, saw his house. He showed us around. We loved it. The next day we met with a realtor. But in the time that realtor was coming, and by the time she got there, our friend Ray had served us multiple drinks. So we showed up, and she showed up, and we were happy.
You were happy people.
We were very happy. So we ended up buying a house that we absolutely didn't want. That day we wrote a check. So we're driving back sober, and we went, we don't really want that house. Yeah. And then fortunately later, she found the house that we wanted, and we purchased it sight unseen.
Wow.
That was about 16 years ago.
That's awesome.
And we just love it down here.
That's about when we came here.
We love it, love it, love it. So we moved full time about right during COVID. Rashida's job was primarily from home. And she was like, there's no need for me to be in Pennsylvania when we have a beautiful beach home. And then once I retired from the full-time space, I moved down also.
Although you're pretty much working full-time.
No, I keep my hours, working hours, paid hours. I keep them to about 20.
20, yeah.
The rest of the time volunteer.
Right.
Yeah, so that was where my full-time comes. I volunteer a lot.
That's great. What are your favorite volunteer options besides your own, of course, foundation?
Yes. The Brojora Foundation is number one, but I would definitely say the American Association for Respiratory Care is what I'm doing now, because I believe that profession, it kind of saved my life because I had no clue what I was going to be doing, and I was either going to be in the combat space or just flat out not knowing what to do.
Right, come out.
I was a medic. And they talk about like battle lifetimes, and medics have one of the shortest battle lifetimes, because you have to go in and get people when they're actively shooting. Right. Right. So it's a dangerous role.
That is a dangerous role.
And so respiratory care gave me a focus. It gave I fell in love with the profession when I got introduced to it. So it gave me something I loved to do, and then it gave me time. Right. To do other things and not have to work 50 jobs to make
ends
living.
Meet. Right.
I moved out at 18 and never moved back.
Right.
So so I love now teaching and preaching the science, and also getting folks interested in the profession, because we do have a deficit in respiratory therapists. So it is number one. But then I volunteered, I was the chair of the board for Leadership Delaware, which I absolutely love, which helps develop leaders in the state. And then I was on the board for Delaware Guidance Services, which is the organization that provides mental health and social work services for kids.
Bree was there for a little bit.
I like kids.
Oh,
great. Yeah. Bree had her internship there.
Oh, really?
My wife, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So
yeah, DG. I was the chair of the board for DGS. I went on our board in 2016 and was the chair for several years.
I didn't know about that overlap. That's pretty cool.
I had no
You'll
idea.
have to tell Bree about that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exciting.
I still work with them to this day. They're a great organization.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. She liked it there.
Yeah.
So tell us, I have your wonderful newsletter right in front of us.
Yes.
Tell us about the Brojora Foundation and how that got started.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Brojora Foundation is, all these things seem to they're not things I go out and seek. They God
find
reveals them, and then you have to kind of take it. So when I was in the Leadership Delaware program, one of my classmates who is I'll just imagine this 6'2", blonde hair, blue eyed guy from Michigan, who's an accountant and finance guy. And he goes, hey, I'm going to this school in West Philly called KIP to go and visit. And I said, where? Oh, KIP, Philadelphia? And he goes, yeah. I said, where? Because I'm maybe you made a mistake. 52nd and Parkside. This is about 4 blocks from my house.
Right.
52nd and Parkside is not where people go to visit, to just hang out, right? And I'm like, you really? And he's like, I said, that's only not too far from where I grew up. I'm going with you.
Right.
So we went together, and we go there, and it's a school there. It's a charter school, and they do a lottery, but they do a true lottery. You don't take a test. You win the lottery, you get in. But their performance is 3 to 4 times better than the city of Philadelphia. Wow. So they take kids from the local neighborhood and they give them resources. So anyway, long story short, we go there and we get in front of one of the classes, and Kevin tells his story. I'm talking about what I do. At the time, I was a senior director at in Norton Moores, and one of the kids raised his hand and said, "You don't understand us, though. You guys came up from, you didn't come from where I came from, and blah blah blah." And I looked at the kid and I was like, "Did you go to Salisbury Junior High? Salisbury Junior High?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I guess you went to James Rhodes Elementary School too." He goes, "Yeah." I was like, "So did I."
So did I, yeah.
And actually, when I started asking questions, do you know this person? You know this person? And then I got to my brother, and he knew my brother.
Oh, my gosh.
And I saw the light come on for that kid. Mm-hmm. Like that barrier that he was putting in front of himself, right. The light came on immediately. And so right from there, I got on the KIPS advisory board and quickly got discouraged. Because I was noticing I was giving money, I couldn't see where it was going.
Right.
And so right after that, me and my wife were talking. I'm like, you know what? Let's grab the kids from KIP that are going to the Lincoln University, which was right next to us. Let's just invite them to our house. We'll cook out. We'll let them have their way of the house. They just get a day to relax and get to see us, right? Because my wife came from humble beginnings also. And that was the beginning of Brojora. So we did that. And then we started giving money. We started asking our friends for money. Like, hey, let's give these kids money. Like I wouldn't have been able to go to college because my parents didn't have a car at that time. Right. To even drive me. So let's just give money for incidentals. And so my friends would donate $500, $1,000. And then in 2022, we were like, maybe there's a tax thing we should take care of. And so we decided to make it official in 2022. And
that's great.
Yeah, before we called it the Brown Family Scholarship Fund, but we had to change it to Brojora because Brown University owns everything that has Brown in school in it. Mm.
Oh, I did not know that.
And so Brojora, BRO is Brown, JO is Joel, RA is Rashida.
I was wondering where that name came from.
Everybody
I actually never asked you that question.
Oh, is that French? No. That's my wife.
Yes,
actually,
it is. You should go, yes.
My wife came up with it. Like I was frustrated. I couldn't find a name that wasn't already taken. And she goes, "How about Brojora?" I was like, I called her. It's like, What does that mean?
Right.
And she goes, "It's Brown, Joel, Rashida."
That's really cool.
Perfect. And so that's what we went with. And so that's what we do. We take kids that are high risk, but high potential. Mm-hmm. Meaning, so these are kids that have some struggles. Like, I always say kids like me, right? I had struggles at home. Mm-hmm. But I still kept decent grades. I was active in school, played sports, but it was the incidentals that were in my way. So we find kids like that because the theory is if I take a kid that can get a 3.0, but maybe 1 of 6 and living in an impoverished situation, if you give them resources, they'll outperform everyone. Mm-hmm. And we're finding that.
Yeah, the appreciation has got to be super strong.
Yeah. And how's that process to find the right person? Because I'm sure you're combing through a lot of people to find them.
I love that question. So we take our interview process to the next level. So one of the things we do is we do not make them fill out big, long applications. Right. Because you already got in college and you've already done that. We give them a one-pager. What comes from your counselor, first of all, counselor or teacher has to recommend you, 1-pager. Then we go meet the kids. So we go to Indian River, we go to Milford, we go to all the schools, we get all of our scholars in a room, we provide them with breakfast, we tell them our story, we encourage them. Mm-hmm. Anyone that's part of the interview process is a Brojora scholar, right? We will take care of you and keep track of you from that point on and we meet with the kids on campus. But then what we do from there is we decide who we're giving the money to. Mm-hmm. Who's the most dedicated? We feel like this kid is really going to actually go to college because sometimes you get to this point, like me, and then they decide, I can't, and they bail out. So who is the kid that has the need? Because often we'll meet kids that are chosen by the counselor, but they're the 4.4 GPA that got the full scholarship.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't need our money. They may need our support, but they don't need our money. So we were able to, through a series of questioning and making sure it's comfortable, we're able to kind of whittle that down, and then we choose from there. Often we make the decision on our drive back.
Wow. Yeah. That's like, really amazing.
This person, those three absolutely need it. All the kids are scholars, but those three need it.
Yeah.
So what do your meetings on campus look like do you go to the campus? Do they come to you? Like what's the process and how does that go?
If you notice my smile, this is my favorite part. We go on campus. So that's why we primarily work with the local schools. We go on campus. And then from there, we buy them food. Chick-fil-A seems to be the thing to go. All the
we were just talking about their waffle fries.
All the campuses have Chick-fil-A right there on it, right? So we will buy them food. We get them together. We often get them to introduce each other so they can be each other's resource, which we got to see the fruits of that last time. One of the gentlemen, he came, and it was because he was in a class with one of our scholars, and she was like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to do whatever. She was like, no, we're supposed to go meet with the Browns. Let's go.
Oh, wow.
And she drug
him
along, right? So we meet with them, and then we have some more formal meetings where we help them build their resumes. We teach them how to interview. Some of the skills that you may take for granted, things like shaking someone's hand. Do you know I did not know how to properly shake someone's hand? Because in my culture, and especially where I live, you don't look someone directly in the eyes, especially an adult.
Right.
Unless you're like, that's a thing of someone's being aggressive or someone's being flirtatious. Other than that, head down, eyes down. So even this last session, we were like teaching them, how do you shake a hand properly? The firmness, how firm it is, looking me in the eye, saying something. And it was uncomfortable for some of them.
Absolutely.
I remember being uncomfortable for me. Right. So that's a cultural thing. So we help them build, we do headshots, we build their LinkedIn profile. And then as recently, we taught them how to get paid internships because these kids can't afford free ones.
Free ones, right.
And we actually got a call. This is not staged. We got a call yesterday. One of our scholars got a scholarship with Dot.
Oh, wow.
This young lady's phenomenal. All the struggles. She is going to Del State, double majoring in chemical engineering and mathematics, and still has a 3.88.
Holy cow.
And every time we call her, she's watching her siblings and things like that because she has to, and she has a job because she has to. And so guess what her biggest barrier was, though, to applying for the internship? She needed references.
Right.
And if you grow up in a neighborhood or in a space where there's no one who has the reputation or has a prominent role to write you a letter of recommendation,
where are you going?
Where are you getting it from? So I wrote one. She's in computer engineering. I called one of my friends who's a VP at a bank, and he's a computer engineer. I said, I need you to meet this young lady, and I need you to write her a letter of recommendation. Both are required.
Right.
They are not questions.
The answer is only yes.
And he's a good friend of mine. He said, okay, when? I said, tonight. And he literally met with her that night, wrote the letter of recommendation, had it, and sent me confirmation because he knew I would have been on him, that she got it. And she got the job. So we're excited.
That is
her.
really exciting.
Yeah, we're excited.
That's an amazing curriculum. Chemical engineering and math. I couldn't even try to pass that.
Pretty sure I failed as soon as he said it. I'm out.
Yeah, no way.
Get me out.
But it just shows the power of, like, a lot of these kids, they have the capability and they want to do it, but
they need the barriers taken down.
And they also need to be exposed to things that they've never been exposed to before.
Yeah, if they don't have the expectation or the desire, they don't know to have the desire because they've been brought up without seeing it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a cool foundation.
It's so much fun. It is the most selfish thing I've ever done. And that's because I feel so good about it.
Right.
I almost feel like I'm taking advantage because it is truly like a core feel-good moment that
I'm sure.
Man, you can't, I pay millions for, and I get it for free.
That's incredible. And how many kids do you do? Like, how many people are you supporting? I know you don't give them all money, but how many people do you support a year? Is it? I mean, do you have like a total number?
So our funding depends on it. This year we are looking at probably about 15 that we'll give the actual scholarship.
Oh,
but
wow.
we'll take all takers from as their scholars. So, for example, that workshop we did for the resume building and LinkedIn profile. That's all takers. Anyone, it's a Brojora scholar. So I don't know if you're familiar with Pathways to Success.
I've heard of it.
So they're an organization here in Sussex. They're in Georgetown, and they actually same thing, but they do it while in high school. And these are kids who are usually first generation, even graduating from high school.
Right.
And also have a lot of socioeconomic barriers. And they watch, and they actually go into the schools to help support these kids. We partnered with them because they tend to be the same kids we're looking for.
Right.
So they get them to the point where they're excited about college. Our job is to keep them in.
Right.
Right. So they can graduate.
That's a great partnership.
Yes. And
that's a lot of young adults that you're supporting.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Are they? And most of them are local, you said, to the college.
Yes.
The local colleges?
So we primarily work with the HBCUs that are state colleges in particular. And there's multiple, we can talk about the layers of that. So we work with UMES, Dell State, and Lincoln University, and we're just adding Morgan State University because there's a large percentage of kids from KIPP and my home school. My home school is Dobbins ATS. Shout out 22nd and Lehigh, all those folks out there. So we're adding them in, and so they're accessible and that we can drive to, and we want to make sure it's still personal, right? So when they need something,
not in Utah.
Yeah, like one of our scholars that it's at UMES that went to Indian River, he's the only one over there. Yeah, so we went. His parents. He lives here. His parents had never visited him yet.
Oh, wow.
And this was like November. And so we were like, we're going to come visit you. And so we, Chick-fil-A, right? Bought the food for him and just sat out and talked to him and encourage him. He's like, oh, I'm finding friends, you know. So
that's great.
Yeah, so just an
extra set of guidance for him.
How is it after graduation? Is it easy to keep up with the kids? I'm sure they want to talk to you all the time, so it's...
Yeah. You for those who are listening, you're going to think that they are setting these questions up. We're doing this totally live because these are great questions. So the perfect questions. So actually, I'll just use the example of one of our, like my super proud moments. We had this young lady that went to KIPP, and then she came to Lincoln University, and she was at our first dinner. We're sitting around talking, and she's telling us gave them all $25 gift cards. And she was so excited about this $25 gift card. And we're like, huh, it's a $25? Like, it was kind of odd. And she told us, like, I was not going to be able to wash my clothes. I can go to Walmart now and go buy clothes detergent.
Oh, my gosh.
And we're like, man, as I grew up in very humble beginnings, but privilege will make you forget things.
Yeah.
Right? And I forget that struggle. Long story short, she decided she wanted to go to med school. And I was like, hey, I'm working at the hospital. I'll take you to work. But I show up at work at 6:30 a.m. every day, even when I was a VP. And my colleagues came in at 9, 6:30, I'm at work because that's when the shifts change. I need you to be outside at Lincoln at 5:15 a.m. waiting for me in a parking lot. In October, in an empty campus, and Lincoln is very rural. Every day, this young lady was waiting in the parking lot for me before I get there, and it was dark. Lights, the lights are on, and she's out there every day. So eventually she got to do that. She decided she did not want to go to med school, which was great because a lot of people go into it and they pay a lot of tuition before they realize wrong thing. Fast forward, we keep track of her, all that stuff. Next thing she reaches out to me, Mr. Brown, I need a letter of recommendation. I'm going to go get my master's degree. So I write her a letter of recommendation. She goes get her master's at Thomas Jefferson. You know where she's at right now? She is in law school with my daughter.
Oh my gosh.
So here's a kid that grew up in a rough neighborhood, in a rough background, had all these barriers. My kid grew up with all the privileges, right? She doesn't know financial struggle.
Right.
And they're in the same space.
That's awesome.
It shows you the potential of these kids. If you remove the barrier, you don't got to do, I didn't do any homework. I didn't do things except remove barriers and encourage.
And they have to have a lot of motivation to come out of that. Because I'm sure a lot of people around them in their homes are questioning, like, you think you're good, good enough to do that. I can just hear the mental struggle to break some of those barriers down too. But they have you guys supporting them, and I'm sure there's some people that have great support at home too. They just don't have the wherewithal to get them there.
I mean, during COVID, she was one of the ones, 6 kids in the same family. COVID happened, so now you're doing school from home. From kindergarten to college, 6 kids, right?
Holy cow.
They had 2 computers. They have to do all their schoolwork via computer.
2 computers, right.
So we reached out to our network and said, hey, we need money. So we sent all of our scholars computers and hotspots because they also didn't have internet. And so we shipped them computers and hotspots, and we actually moved away from the scholarship that year.
Right.
Because there was
you
a
had to
more
get
immediate
equipment.
need. Yeah. So we try to be nimble for the needs and what's going on. But that's an example, my favorite example of how we follow the kids even afterwards. Well, she's an adult now.
Yeah.
We follow them
I don't know.
afterwards.
Sometimes they're always kids.
Yeah. So, yeah.
How do you start recognizing these kids? Like, how early is it in high school, or how is it senior year, junior year?
Yeah, so we start senior year. Actually, most of the schools, like at KIPP, I go to KIPP and I actually speak. And I'll probably start doing that at my school and working on Indian River and all those. Like, so I go and do a presentation, usually just an encouraging one, not a selling brochure. It's just like, hey, you can do it.
Right.
And, I tell my story, and I tell my story not in the angle of bragging, but showing that it can be done.
Right.
It's harder. It's definitely harder, but it can be done. A lot of times the cream rises right there. That kid that walks right up and goes, "Oh my gosh, that's me," or "Wow, that was great," or "Can I have your card?" Now they may not respond. They don't know what to do with the card. It's probably somewhere in their drawer. But I remember faces well. I don't remember names well, but I remember faces. So often we'll go there and I go, "I remember you from when I was speaking," right? So, but typically it's senior year. It's counselors, but we are very clear of who we're looking for. I don't need your 4.4 that has a full Rhodes scholarship.
Right.
That kid's financially going to be okay. Like I want the kid that just needs a little bit extra. Yeah.
That's amazing to have you here in Sussex County, starting in Philly, but helping our local community here now that you're here is pretty incredible. So now we have to get off we have to get to some of the things you love to do here in Sussex County. I'm going to change the topic. Yes. Because now I know where your favorite restaurant is, you have to tell our listeners.
So they asked me what my favorite restaurant, and I will tell you it's probably the most high-end, fancy French prepared. No, it's not. It is the Bethany Diner. This is right here on 26.
Yep.
They make the best scrapple. They prepare it perfectly. Their pancakes are amazing. They're nice. We have our family come down because when we lived up north, we'd have 60 people at our house. Now it's like 30.
Right.
And we called them, and they don't take reservations. And we called them and said, "Hey, we have, do you take reservations?" "No." "All right, well, we're going to show up with about 26 people tomorrow." They were like,
"That's the whole diner.
You're either ready or you're not."
They said, and they made a reservation. We got there. They had the table set.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's the food is great, but they give a nice family atmosphere, and I'm just a sucker for a diner.
Yeah. Well, you said they have good pancakes too, which
yeah.
I actually haven't had their pancakes, so I'm going to have to try that.
Absolutely. Get a 2-stack.
And it's funny because
Short
it's
stack.
funny
because
because
scrapple. He's right about the scrapple. They do something to it. It's
perfect.
Very crispy, but it's delicious. Oh, it's
Soft in the middle. Perfect.
it's funny because we talk about scrapple like all of our listeners know what scrapple is. But if you haven't experienced scrapple, you do have to come to Sussex County and eat some scrapple because it's not a wide known version of breakfast meat. It is known in Baltimore,
Philly,
Pennsylvania
is where it started.
Yeah.
But it's like this little area. It's like this little corridor right here. If you go to Alabama, I don't know that they have scrapple.
No, actually,
or Texas.
When I travel to speak, if I mention scrapple, they have no clue.
No idea what it is.
No clue.
It's a breakfast meat, folks.
I always do that with quote
delicious.
fingers. I say it's my favorite breakfast meat.
Whatever it is.
We don't ask.
It's good. Don't ask too many questions.
Don't ask too many questions.
Right?
It's very tasty. So what are your other favorite things to do in the area?
Oh, I love driving on the beach. 3 R's is my favorite spot. I am a introvert that does a really good impression of extrovert. So when I'm doing my full introvert thing,
I would never have guessed you were an introvert.
It takes energy. You notice when we were away, I disappear for a while. I gotta recharge my battery.
That's true.
I gotta recharge my
yeah.
battery. I'm good with 2-4 people, but once it gets more than about 4, it's exhausting. So I will drive on 3 R's. I will try to be as far away from anything. Just sit out there with my pole by myself in the quiet and enjoy nature. I grew up where I had a concrete front yard and a concrete backyard and neighbors right next to me. So open space is my big deal.
So sand and ocean.
Sand. I love, Holt's Landing Park is my favorite place to walk because you can walk onto the deck. I love Trap Pond. All those outdoor things are what I love about down here. Yeah.
Very peaceful compared to where you grew up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a big point is our state parks here they're fantastic.
Yeah.
You have them everywhere and the drive on beaches.
And they're really not expensive.
No.
You know, people talk about like the Jersey beaches where you have to pay every day and you have to pay to get on the beach. And
$90 for the surf fishing permit.
Yeah.
For a year.
I guess
if you're a resident.
For a resident, yeah.
The interesting thing is that parks offer a veterans discount for everything except the drive-on.
That's interesting.
For that, your years of service don't matter.
No, not that one. I did not know that.
There you go.
You need to have a conversation with our park system.
There you go, Denrick. Just saying.
Please explain. We would like an explanation to this problem.
Just saying.
Well, is there anything else? So we need to know how to get a hold of you if people want to donate to the Brojora Foundation, for sure. So how do we do that?
So if you want to get to connect with the Brojora Foundation, if you go to brojora.org, BROJORA, stand for Rashida and Joel. But go to brojora.org. You have everything you need to connect there. I'm also available. Actually, we have, you can go to Joel Brown at arriveleadership.com is the most direct way to get to me. We also have a Brojora Gmail account. So what other way I take communication in any manner, short of smoke signal. So you email, phone,
Morse code's coming
Morse
over.
code. I know Morse code, so we can do Morse code. It's just
Of course
smoke,
you do.
I don't know smoke signal, so I'm still working on that.
But
don't smoke. I'm a respiratory therapist.
That's right. Please don't smoke. That's why you don't know smoke signals. Well, you can get this amazing newsletter to keep up to date. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Yes, you can.
Yes, and turn it around so he can see that one. See that gentleman there? He won our fantasy football league, which I'm sour because I won last year. So anyway, that's Sydney. He won our fantasy football league.
Well, congratulations, Sydney.
Yeah.
You beat Joel.
I'm super competitive. So.
Well, thanks so much for coming on today. This was fantastic. And I appreciate the history and you sharing so much about your life and all the wonderful things that you do. So appreciate it. And to our listeners, stay tuned. We'll have more for you coming up.
All right. Thank you.
Whether you're looking to purchase your perfect beach getaway or retirement home, or it's time to sell your current home, the Real McCoy Group of Caldwell Banker Realty is ready to make your dreams a reality. Visit therealmccoygroup.com for more details. Find your happy place with the Real McCoy Group.